kuna time nilikuwa nataka kuwa father wa GAKUO.
Yeah. By any chance, did you happen to watch DJ-AFRO movies growing up?
Who hasn't watched DJ-AFRO movies?
Calm down. Story ni yako ama ni yangu. Relax. Let me paint the picture.
This right now. I've been chasing all my dreams. Failing isn't meant for me. Fuck all of this foolery. This should be my destiny. The closest ones ignore your cries. Guess the sun don't always shine. At least I know I always tried. Nothing happens overnight. I've been chasing all my dreams. Isn't meant for me. Fuck all of this foolery. This should be my destiny. The closest ones ignore your cries. Guess the sun don't always shine. At least I know I always tried. Nothing happens overnight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dream Chasers podcast. My name is Anthony Miner, and today in studio I'm joined by filmmaker extraordinaire. Niendelea ama niwache? Writer, director, actor, producer. Ukijana ni star cha niwaambie. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm joined by Steve GAKUO. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great. Kijana umeanza. Ushaona zile introductions za MMA ama UFC. Ati ladies and gentlemen, presenting the reigning. Yeah, you give off those vibes. It's fine. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm chilling. Working on a few things here and there for
on a pod. Me ni guest number 8. Number 8, yeah. Number 8. Man, I like your consistency.
Thank you, man. It's it's a very interesting place to be because everyone's like, oh, keep doing what you're doing, keep pushing it, nini. There's a lot of challenges involved, but you have to keep moving at the end of the day.
You have to keep moving. I mean, because the same industry, going through the same challenges. But yeah, you keep moving, yeah.
Cutthroat industry at that matter. So how's it like being a film producer?
Being a film producer? Like right now, I'm at 20 specifics. Being a film producer in Kenya.
Acha tuanze. Turudi nyuma. Tuanzie history at grassroots level.
Yes.
How did Steve GAKUO decide movies is going to be my thing?
Yeah, stuff ni decide kitambo. So familia yetu, my family, we watch a lot of movies from pretty early on to go from our dad. Mzali to introduce to Jackie Chan, to introduce to Indiana Jones. He usually knew all these great guys, right? And so my brothers continued with that journey, and then me, I picked it up from them. So nikiwa class 8, I remember niliulizwa hiyo swali. My career has nilikuwa nataka kuchukua kuna time nilikuwa nataka kuwa father wa GAKUO.
Sasa ungekuwa pale inomne Patrice binini.
Kata kwa father wa GAKUO.
Usijali. Na kuchekelea juu hata mimi kuna time fulani kidogo tu.
Sasa najiangalia niko okay. That was anyway. Kata kwa father wa GAKUO, and then it jumped ship to being a pilot and a lawyer. But then nikiwa class 8, juu hiyo kidhani kwa binge watch movie sana. That's when I was like, yeah, I wanted to make movies. So modo wa social studies akaniuliza, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I want to be an actor. Who is your favorite actor? Square Joe James Bond, real name. But it was Pierce Brosnan's James Bond. So nikasema to James Bond. And then and the reason I wanted to be an actor ni juu I thought an actor actually had power and authority on set. If you remember, unlike Sahi, back then actors used to be the face of movies. Ulikuwa unapata used to go to watch a movie because of an actor. Jia Rambo, Jia Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the rest. And nikaona nikadhani they usually made decisions on set, but as kuingia high school and continuing meeting other cinephiles like myself, you get to learn actually actors and actresses do not have
as much power
power. And that's when I realized a writer decides how a story goes, a producer is the one who determines what will be in the movie, the director is the visionary. So nikiwa form 3 niko I'll be a writer, director, producer. Obviously inspired by those filmmakers I look up to.
Talk to me about your inspiration as a filmmaker. Who you've talked about writer, director, producer.
Yes.
So as a writer, who inspired you to? Because script writing is not easy, my friend.
No, I think it's really hard.
Like people take for granted how hard it is to generate original ideas from your head.
Bro, even like there's this argument between a director and a writer who actually is, decides how a movie is going to be. Just sometimes unapatanga a movie is good, the writing is good, but the execution is poor. And vice versa is also true for the director as well. Like the writing is shit, but the movie is good. So who determines? So when it comes to inspirations, those guys who've inspired me, imekuwa evolve. Kusema ukweli, me was a Marvel nerd like crazy.
Weren't we all though?
I think so, because Marvel was at its prime at that time. Now being a young person, ulikuwa unajaribu kuwatch Shawshank Redemption, sauko mani movie na bo. Saizo uko class 5, you want action, you didn't have something. Maturity. Yeah, you didn't have that intellectual maturity. But then it evolved from Marvel, start getting to spy movies, James Bond, Mission Impossible. And then nikiwa form 3, bro yangu akaacha hard drive yake. And it had all these movies alikuwa amezipanga in folders. Then kuna folder moja ilikuwa imeandikwa Christopher Nolan. Simini bas.
Wacha hata ni note hapo.
Umeanza hadi we are getting to pick. Ilikuwa imeandikwa Christopher Nolan. And it had all these movies. And man, they kind of changed my perception of thinking. They make you think. Kwanza nilianza na kina Inception, The Dark Knight, na bro, mi sikuwahi pata. At that time, I hadn't found films that actually challenge you as an audience. You go, damn, hadi mi ningekuwa in such a situation, what would I do? And it involved from Christopher Nolan, started getting to Steven Spielberg, George Lucas. And man, you get to see how different writers and directors think. And hiyo ni advantage. It's kind of an advantage. You stick to one person, you only think that you won't see other points of view, which you might think, this guy has much superiority when he's doing this. For example, Nolan is really great with original ideas. Steven Spielberg, even though he also writes his screenplays, when it comes to collaborating with a screenwriter and being a director as well, he does it so well. So inakuwa very diverse.
I have an interesting question for you.
Yeah.
By any chance, did you happen to watch DJ-AFRO movies growing up?
Who hasn't watched DJ-AFRO movies?
Nah, this is my guy now.
Aye. Like
so me, let me tell you a funny story. So when I was young, during the holidays, your parents don't want you to stay in the house.
Right.
And like so for me, my parents, like they used to try to get me to do outside activities. I've done music, I've done sports, I've done creative arts, I've done things to do with leadership, what's not.
Right.
So in the process of doing all those things, one thing stuck. There was a time I was playing for an academy back in my hometown. Wacha nisiwa mention sa nitawa mention nikiwa mwaka. Lakini what used to happen was during the holidays, me and my younger brother used to wake up. So our training time was me first, then him, then we go home.
Right.
So we used to wake up, you're psyched up for training, nini, umekula breakfast, nini, umevaa bag, uko hapo, wewe tunaenda kucheza ball, nini. Sasa si mnatoka training.
Yeah.
Fare yenye mlipewa kwenda training, una save.
Mlikuwa mnalipa fare ngapi?
Ilikuwa chwani. Nduthi kutoka kwetu hadi training ground ilikuwa 50 bob. So ulikuwa unapewa soya to and from. Sasa si kama umeamka mapema una save the whole thing. Ukirudi unakuja kama umenunua KDF buda.
KDF in its prime. Mimi nasema KDF ya sai si tamu ya back. Man, it was so ilikuwa tamu msi. Kuna kula pako mbili na
buda. So mimi na brother yangu mdogo tumeshikana tuko na kama 200 yetu polite. Hii ni prime 2016 mahali pale. Tunaingia home, tumenunua yogurt na KDF. unaingia home 12:30 Gikuyu TV tu unasikia tu jamaa akisema alright, siku yangu imeishia hapo. Siku yangu hata buda yangu akuje na nyaunyo kiboko, mi kichwa yangu kisha lock in ni hivyo.
Bro, DJ-AFRO was a legend. Like I live from Gikuyu TV. I remember alikuwa kwa channel nyingine
Jambo TV.
What's Jambo TV before he joined Gikuyu TV? Alikuwa in some, he was in a different one. Na mse wase wengi, and I remember generation yetu ilikuwa ile ya unaandika insha bana, unaandika Kiswahili ya DJ-AFRO.
Lakini mse me to be honest I'd like to see, you see that role that DJ-AFRO took. I'd call it movie commentary. That's the best way I can put it.
It's actually movie commentary. Now ukiweza niuliza, he got so many people into watching films. I think watu wampatiangi credit bana.
I'd really want to bring him on the pod.
Hata kama watu walikuwa naenda shule, ukiwatch movie, especially wase ushago, juu mimi nimetoka ushago, so wengi waelewi English buda. Now sometimes unaonanga like movies back then they were peak, and when you listen to the dialogue, your dialogue ilikuwa crazy. So DJ-AFRO is kind of an intermediary in between for easier communication,
to bridge.
But alikuwa achochana sana. Mimi mse alikuwa twist mambo man. I remember nili-rewatch tena nikiwa mkubwa. Like Z
haiwezi kwa hivyo,
but he did a great thing. Mi wacha nikuambia my side of the story na DJ-AFRO. Mimi nimetoka ushago. Sitasema wapi, but wenye wananijua.
Shout out to kwenye Steve GAKUO alitoka. Huyu jamaa anatengeneza movies zingine wazimu huko Nairobi.
Yeah. So si ushago, ulikuwa unapata unaamka asubuhi, unaenda shule. I went to a private institution, but ilikuwa tu hizi private zinakaa public. So ulikuwa unapata unapewa, mimi niko atoka na madhe, but sometimes unapata hako available, so anakujenga 10 bob. Unaenda nayo, hiyo ndio fare. 10 bob hadi tao, unaenda shule. So ukirudi, tuseme, I remember this time my brother alipewa HS, my mom was sick. So mzae man, hiyo dendi alikuwa in charge of the house. So bro anaenda hapo, anaenda tuition. Sasa akapatiwa 200.
Wala la la la.
Najua 200.
Voice of the man.
200 2010 ilikuwa pesa ngapi?
Inflation has done terrible things bro. To us manze.
Sasa alienda shule after tuition, anaenda akabai KDF, akaenda movie mse. Hivyo ndivyo pesa zilisha. Sasa shida ilikuanga, so umebakisha pesa. So during Saturdays buda juu hakuna shule, so unaenda kuchunga ng'ombe. So una time unaenda unawatch movie, so zilikuwa zinaitwa video, mabase za video. Unaenda unalipa 5 bob, unawatch DJ-AFRO hapo. Buda, kuna hii za tulishikwa na madhe.
Kama mkushikwa mkiwatch movies, nya kuna kitu mnafanya mse. Honestly
tuligongo. Unajua huko unafaa kwenda huko, and it's understandable because huko ulikuwa unapata walevi, majamazi na nini zinakula jaba tu. So there was a lot of bad influence there. But mse wewe unataka tu kuwatch movie mse, kunasikia tu venye DJ-AFRO alikuwa, that guy is legend. I've never seen someone with such an eloquent voice and flow. Na ungewatch venye alikuwa na record hizo stuff. Ushaona hizo behind the scenes. There's a time aliitwa sijuka ilikuwa KTN ama Citizen, and he showed his flow of the process. So he usually goes to a live audience. Ulikuwa unasikia wasi wakicheka when watching the movie. So he had a live audience, ana record hivi. Sika saa hivi venye sisi tuna record. And then unaweza cut the mistakes that you've made. So hapo niwende ukiwa
on point
vibaya sana. So I give credit him for that. Mamse ungeshiko ukiwatch video man na uko high school hadi ulikuwa na wango vita kasi.
Impact yake on the movies, as you had mentioned earlier, is something I'd really like to mention.
Yes.
Omse amefanya, like as you said, not a lot of people, especially in the rural areas, get to understand English the
That's
way
very true.
Like normal people ama sisi watu bontao tuna understand English. So alikuwa anasaidia pale mkitaka kuona Jackie Chan, Rambo, ndo msikuwa you have seen the same thing but your understanding is worlds apart.
And then like when you hear ameanza Jetli mtoto wa mama
Picha letu
man, memories. I don't think watoi wa sahi wataets bro. I think we are the last generation that actually experienced peak mse. Apart from millennials, as Gen Z are the last ones. So alizaliwa to 1 to 5 hapo.
Ujua hata mi kuona DJ-AFRO was not a planned thing. Hiyo time ndo time decoders ilikuwa zimetokea Go TV, DSTV.
Only discover your time.
Say
nimeshina huyo msee kutoka nizalio.
Sasa unajua okay, mimi naweza sema
amko mna buy DVDs msee.
Sasa hapo ndo nataka kuguzia sasa. Sisi tulikuwa tunaendanga kwa cyber. Nenda kubaniwa disc. Sasa kama nataka kuwatch hiyo time nilikuwa na watch. Unajua series inaitwa Empire. Hiyo ya Fox.
Yeah.
Sasa hiyo time we calm down. Story ni yako ama ni yangu? Relax. Let me paint the picture.
Alright.
So I had this neighbor of mine. Neighbor yangu alikuwa dem fulani yako high school. So time nilikuwa naenda kwao juu kwa estate yetu tulikuwa tunacheza like watoto wote as a group. Sasa sisi mmeenda kuchukua brother yake mdogo na sister yake mdogo ndo mwende mkacheze. Unakuja unapata ana watch Teen Wolf, ana watch Empire, ana watch zile tu ma series za hiyo time. Mimi niko ana watch aje hii na like anaweza rudisha nyuma na apeleke mbele vile anataka. Sasa kierere 1-2 nikamuuliza rada. Akaniambia so tunaendanga pale kwa ile duka fulani na ka 50 bob unampea na kubania kwa zile CD. Sasa time ya DVD play nyewe mimi ni mzee.
Peak times bana.
So hivyo ndo ilianza. So sisi yetu preferred method ilikuwa uende kwa cyber ama kwa movie shop akubanie disk zako 2 3 4 ama kuweke kwa flash alafu wewe uende uone kivyako. Sasa shida ilikuwa usipatikane nazo juu utaexplain aje ulikuwa na pesa yenye haukupewa. So saa yenye pesa inaisha ndo unapata unajikuta uko watch GAKUO TV sana. Saa yenye pesa iko sasa una watch in English. So ilikuwa like a balance. Alafu ilifika mahali kuconvince mzae alipie decoder. Alikuwa tu anatuangalia hivi yako. Nyoto hata amsomangi.
Watch KBC.
Bas hata amsomangi. Nikilipia hii kitu kazi yenyu tu ni kuona Nickelodeon. Kasema tu sa utadu. Exactly.
By the way, see like man, see mzae alikuwa na buy. Unaona zile Blu-ray disc unaonanga waki-advertise after movie finishes its runtime in theaters. Mzae alikuwa buy hizo. Mimi sijui kwenye ilikuwa zitoa because it's really hard to find those ones. Juu inakuja ikiwa package, kuna ma behind the scenes videos. So tulikuwa nazo mingi. Tulikuwa collection ya Indiana Jones at that time. Tulikuwa tu na we had The Last Crusade, we had Temple of Doom, we had Raiders of the Lost Ark, Rambo 1 had D3, we had that one as well. We also had
kitambo hata ku exchange movies was a thing.
It was a thing,
like mlikuwa mnapatana shule huko. Wewe umewatch hii? Tulikuwa na neighbors. Sasa unadhani like you guys are the shit. Sasa tulikuwa na neighbor wengine MC walikuwa na zote. Like walikuwa ma collections. So tulikuwa tunaenda my big brother alikuwa enda na collect huko. So si juu tumezoea hizi za kitambo. So at that time I remember hapo ma 2010 2012 that's when superhero movies were becoming a thing. So I was alikuwa na Amazing Spider-Man 1 hadi 2. Wow. Nakumbuka my first experience
bro. Walikuwa Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1 to 3. Walikuwa na Superman Returns. They had the Dark Knight. Bro, it was crazy man. You're like damn. Walikuwa saju. I was a kid at that time. Bro alikuwa anachukulia Tom and Jerry zote, Bunny.
Bugs Bunny. Watch Bugs Bunny? Damn, the whole thing.
What's the entire thing?
Yo bado sijaona. Yo I'm yet to sit down and watch the whole thing.
Bro, those cartoons were actually very creative compared to what we see today.
Cartoons za sahi anga Kokomelo nanga. Kwanza honestly this might be a very controversial opinion, but anything produced after 2018 is very hard for me to watch because of all this inclusivity nonsense. Like I don't mind people having alternative opinions on what you should do with your body and all that. that, but don't make it an agenda that everyone's forced to see. Like,
and that's actually true.
I honestly don't care if you choose to do whatever you want. Hiyo ni mambo yako.
Like, it's me, it's the anyway. It was that period was it really happened 2020 sana and onwards. It was me. It's the way they try and do it in kids TV shows
it's fucked
for
up.
children. Bro.
It's fucked up. Even Cocomelon are currently under lawsuits because of
man,
that thing.
it destroys kids, man, and it's not okay.
Kids are innocent.
People actually forget how film, animation alike are powerful mediums. Ukitaka kuchange generation, anza ku make movies in a certain way. The reason you find a generation is the way it is, and it was under influence of certain films. Zenye waliwatch when they were kids and teenagers, it changed their thinking, it changed how they do things. It's crazy.
Talk to me more about that, because you can clearly see that trend. Because ukiangalia kama sisi unaweza sama, we've watched a lot of hero movies, a lot of, the good bad archetype, because you look at the Marvel universe and the DC universe, that peaked when about 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago actually, because that's when we can actually say they were actually in competition before they removed Zack Snyder.
Nakumbuka nilikuwa na watchingi cartoon fulani, Avengers Assemble, Saturday asubuhi pale bro.
Ama ukimaliza shule una ensure by 4 ushafika home.
Hata sikuwa nataka stories za sijui after school plans. Hiyo ni mambo yenyu hiyo. Mimi nataka tu nifike home nione cartoon inaitwa Dino Froze. Nifurahi tu, nisikie tu roho tu imefunguka.
Akina Django Johnson.
Nakumbuka hata Makutano Junction ile ilikuwa Citizen.
Hiyo ilikuwa inakaa majioni. Do you know how good that is compared to what
TV back then was peak.
It was peak, man. It was peak.
Yeah. Entertainment from back then was everything.
It was everything. But as you were saying, like, if you want to change a generation, just start making films in a certain way. So
you as a filmmaker, how do you go about that process
of making films?
No, you have what you want to put in your film. Like, let's say you want to make a film about a guy who was caught up in some gender-based violence, just to like random example. So how do you go about what I will put in this film and what I will not?
Me, honestly, I approaching in the terms of in any challenge, not only in terms of the way you're shooting, but the story itself. Because a good story, it can take time, na sometimes inakujanga hivi. Sometimes umechila hapo usiku, unacheza kitu kaka God of War, Red Dead Redemption, and you notice something in some of the scenes and you're like, damn, I would like to do that in a movie. You get? So unaangalia na kuchallenge as a filmmaker, is this something that I've never done before? So hapo ndipo naanzanga. For me, story is always kicking. And even if you check other filmmakers, story is always king. Without a story, you don't have a movie. Because imagine if movies were shot with no story. Ikuati ukona tu, everything is set. Now what? Even though you try without a story, something will be made up to be
it'll make a story on itself.
It will make a story on its own. So minaanzanga hapo. Naanza na story. And then you write the screenplay, you put together your team, and I work with people when unaona you'll coordinate well on set, people that think like you sometimes, and sometimes nimse anaweza add on to that production, or they bring in value as well. So once you do that, you shoot the film, and the editing process, the music composition, and you finish.
Let's talk about music.
Music
composition, especially for film. People don't understand that the way music is made normally and the way music is made for film is like
totally different.
Yeah. So I want you to just give us a deep dive on what it's like to make music for film.
It depends. Unapatanga sometimes there are filmmakers on approaching, for example, akaenda kasikiza score ya Hans Zimmer. And he's like, man, I love this score from Hans Zimmer. So when he's writing his story, juu napatanga other filmmakers, they get inspiration of their stories from music. So after he writes the story, approach music composer, he or she is like, I would like you to compose my movie to be like, for example, Dune Part 2. I like the score for Dune Part 2. I hope you can. Can you compose something like that? But if you think about it, it won't end up the way you want it, because he'll try to compose something similar, but it won't be the same thing. You get? It won't end up being Dune Part 2 score. It will be an entirely different. Juu kuna hizo stories are copyright, you know. Not only copyright, but you wouldn't like your movie to copy a score of a certain film. So that's where naeza sema some filmmakers fail, and I think it's best you approach it from a story perspective. You have this story. How is it? It's a thriller. It's a drama. Okay, it's a drama. What story is it telling? For example, it's about a parent trying to get back to his family, and there's this journey in between. There's the ups and downs, the emotions. So you use that, and now the music composer na kamingi in knowing where he'll use the instruments. There are some instruments which convey a certain emotion best. For example, unapatanga ka choir or using trumpets, especially this, I forgot the name, these huge trumpets, like they kind of convey royalty. Sometimes a violin can be used to show chaos, and at the same time in as a shift to be high energy or something loving. So a composer, depending on how talented they are and their imagination, they are able to, you know, na unapatanga wengi wao. If you want to know a really great composer, is ukimpatia script, akiisoma, he already knows, wow, I can feel this thing, this kind of music. That's how they think. They are filmmaker naona, wow, if you place a camera here with this character, it will turn out like this. Now them, it's music. And ndio unakuja kurealize, man, we are built differently. Kuna wase ufikiria so differently. Like, how do you think? Mi naeza get how they think about music, but them it's much deeper. Like with the strings and everything.
I actually found out that, like, when sounds are being made for films, like, when you look at films that, forget CGI now, when you look at films that have been shot and, like, things like rain sounds, rainfalls, explosions, when you look at the way ADR works, it's a science. It's not like it's not a random thing that you just, because you can't just go record an explosion because you don't have bombs, bana. You have to improvise and twist things. I was recently looking at YouTube videos on how it's done, bro. It surprised me. Like, there's someone who has sat down and found a way to make something totally unrelated sound like something else, just so that it can be put in a film.
Creativity and an imagination. Mse anafikiria this sound and this sound, if I combine them, they'll produce this. It's like the way unaweza combine, unaangalia colors, red na yellow, combine them, itakuwa orange. That's how they think, and it's really fascinating. And I came to realize those guys are really good at math. Either ameiva. Like, they are really smart. They're really smart guys. And people forget where this music, like sound effects, music coming from. Sai, composers or sound effects artists, sound designers, they just go to either they check online for the sounds or stuff like that. But unapata most passionate sound designers or sound designers back then actually had to create these sounds
from scratch.
And that's why you find those movies are iconic, like Car Star Wars. Ukisikia the Millennium Falcon, kuna venye unajua tu ina sound. Ukisikia sound ya lightsabers, you know how it sounds.
So you imagine the creative process that it took for someone to figure out. So for me to make this sound like a lightsaber, and it is not a lightsaber. What am I gonna go through to make it, do that?
For example, one of the most fascinating ones, me it's forgot the name of the sound designer, but the sound designer of Dune. Unaona hizo those I don't want to call them jets because they are not jets. I forgot the name, those planes. You see, because ukiziona zina flapping hivi na zimedesigniwa to look like grasshopper somehow. Do you know the flapping actually came from a bee? Like
they recorded bee wings flapping.
Yes, and then they slowed them down and then it it was nikuwa wow. Or even when Michael Jackson was making his songs, alikuwa anaambia producer wake acha kukaa kwa studio, go out there, make new sounds. So the girl just look for random stuff, anazipiga, listens, is like okay. He goes in posts, anaongeza ma reverb nini, and that's why unasikia zina produce in that way. And Michael Jackson was a genius too. Ulikuwa unapata mse was creating sounds by beatbox in them. He used to tell the producer like, I want something to like that. And the producer was so keen and could understand him and replicate the same thing. That's genius.
I mean, when you come to this industry, in as much as it might not be the most flashy industry to work in, the results are very flashy, but working in this industry
people don't
a lot
understand.
You know, even me, I can say as a person, because at first I wasn't passionate about film. I've been on screen before. I've been like, the potential for me to do acting has been there before, and I've always seen it, and I'm like, maybe. But now you see, when it comes to where we are as a people,
right?
When you tell your parents you want to go to school to do film, they're like, nigga.
Yeah, how did it go for you, by the way? For me, young was quite difficult.
So let me give you context. It just so happens that my grades qualify me to do some very, very big courses. So once my grades came out, so as you know, everyone in the family now knows, and then now you started being asked, oh, Anthony, what are you gonna do? Oh, Anthony, what are you gonna do? Then they start using big words, engineering, sijui mechatronics, sijui nini. Me, I'm like, you guys want me to do these things because it seems like a good idea. I'm not passionate about it. And when I'm not passionate about something, doing it because you want me to do it will not last, unfortunately. So I ended up, actually by the time I was joining uni, I did IT because I was undecided. Me, okay, true story ni ati mi sikuwa nataka kukuja. Mi nilikuwa nadhani nitamaliza form 4 nikacheze mpira, lakini
nikaa kuzoea.
Here we are.
Sasa alikuwa na ambitions sana, like, man Steve, unaona nikimaliza high school hivi nita apply green card, niende UK, niende football academy. Bro, reality here.
Here we are. Even me, here we are. I've gotten a chance to interact with, you know, like both the film and the sports industry in this country. I can say the sports industry is a very interesting place to be. It requires some crazy sacrifice, bro. If you see anyone who's an athlete, by any means, like atakani semi-professional, just put some serious respect
for them.
The amount of sacrifice it takes for you to perform in a sport,
it actually takes at all.
And then you need to consider that football, just like film, is a very competitive thing,
right?
Because there are very creative people out here. Same way, there are very talented people, but same way in both fields, the most talented people might not be the people who get the best opportunities, and it's a fucked up world we live in. So you find that sometimes, even when you have the talent, things don't go your way, and then life catches up to you. Now you see, you can't keep saying that, oh, I have done nothing with my life, I'm 40 years just because I was chasing a football dream. That's the unfortunate reality that most people who are in my position had to deal with.
Right.
So I then came to uni, and then after doing IT for a short while, I was like, this is not my vision. I've grown up around tech, so I'm not really passionate about tech. I know how to use tech, but me, I've not been someone who was ati software engineer. I prefer being a hands-on type of person. I prefer doing work that changes, challenges become newer, and and I get that aspect when it comes to IT and software and all that, but it's just not my thing. So I chose to switch to film, partly because of this production that we're currently in.
Right.
Because I was already there. Actually, when I started this podcast, I had no production experience. All of a sudden, you're writer, producer, editors, script writers.
I think kila mtu once. Bro, you need to start somewhere, man.
It was crazy. And then when I got to classes, when I realized, okay, me, I actually taught myself these things. Because I entered an editing class and I'm like, these things he's talking about, me, I figured out through trial and error. It took me days and days to figure out, but
you
still,
figured it out.
So I was like, I mean, this might be my thing. I've always had a passion for media. I've always, vitu hazikuenda vizuri when I was young. I had a few opportunities to be in a few high places, but I thank my parents for not letting me go that way, because I've come to realize that it might have put me out of character.
You would have had some internal conflicts.
If I became too big too quickly, maybe I'd be a different person, especially as a child.
I think that's another thing. Siwezi taa mtoto wangu akue celebrity akiwa below 22 years old. Juu hauna maturity ya kuinteract na watu. There's this thing with children. You trust everyone.
You're a gullible human being.
You're still learning. And this industry, as you know, can get fucked up.
Exploitation is crazy, bro. It's the not so beautiful part of the industry that we're in.
I think industry yetu ndio, apart from politics, I think
politics, sports and entertainment.
Wow.
All three industries that I like, apparently. But it's cutthroat. There's some serious exploitation and things can go wrong very quickly.